Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternities, the Expanse character analysis for Bobbie Draper. This video is a part of a series of videos where I explore a character from the Expanse and analyze their character journey. In this video, I will explore the character journey of Bobbie Draper. These videos, I'll be looking only at the Expanse TV show and will not be exploring any information from the Expanse novels. So I have to start with a spoiler warning for the Expanse up to the end of Season 4. If you haven't seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So when we first meet Bobbie Draper, she's a Marine in a long line of Marines. She's a sergeant in charge of her unit, and we see them engaged in training exercises on Mars. Bobbie has a particular desire to actually see action against UN troops, which she despises. And she continually is disappointed when Mars refuses to attack the UN outright. And her ultimate goal is to go to Earth in military conquest one day. But instead, her unit is assigned to what she refers to as farm duty, as she's sent to patrol the border of the Martian and UN-controlled territory on Ganymede. However, everything changes for her when her team is seemingly attacked by a UN troop, in which her entire team is killed and she barely survives. The incident sparked fighting between Martian and UN forces on Ganymede, which became a disaster zone that quickly began to fall apart. During her recovery, she's interrogated by a Martian intelligence officer who strangely tries to insist that her and her team were responsible for starting the fighting. But as she remembers more about the incident, she recalls that the UN troops weren't attacking them, they were running away from something, a monster without a vac suit. But whenever she tries to bring this up to her superiors, she's told that she's mistaken and they order her never to mention it again. She's then brought to Earth to testify at a peace conference between Earth and Mars, and she's ordered to tell them that her team initiated the fighting on Ganymede through a mistake. But during the conference, they surprise her by blaming the attack on a member of her team whom she knows is not responsible. In private, she yells at her superior, Captain Martins, who scolds her for her disobedience and again orders her to toe the line. However, at the next day of the conference, she's questioned by UN official Christian Avasarala, and while the Martian team try to divert her attention, she seems intent on questioning Draper. Avasarala can tell that Draper doesn't believe what she's saying, and is just being told to say these things, and eventually gets her to admit that there was a thing that attacked them on Ganymede, but the Martian officials managed to quiet her. But Bobbie can tell that her superiors are lying and hiding something. But when she questions them, she's told to be quiet and obey orders. When she breaks out of the Martian compound so she can see the ocean, Avasarala finds her and gives her information that Mars is testing a protomolecule hybrid weapon on Ganymede, and her team were used as test subjects in this experiment. And Avasarala suggests they work together to uncover this conspiracy. But Bobbie, who spent her whole life thinking of the UN as her mortal enemy, refuses to believe this and returns to the Martian compound, where she's told she's being sent back to Mars immediately, where she'll be dishonorably discharged for her insubordination. However, Avasarala's words sink in, and she goes to Captain Martins in private and attacks him and gets him to admit that he was in fact part of a protomolecule experiment in which her team was used as fodder for. And these peace negotiations with Earth are just Mars stalling for time as they try to acquire these weapons from Jules Pierre Mao. Draper knocks Captain Martins out and breaks out of the Mars compound with the evidence to prove their involvement, and makes a run for the UN compound, where she requests political asylum. So Bobbie Draper finds herself in a state of crisis, questioning everything she ever knew, as she's betrayed by the very people she's pledged loyalty to, and has to turn to her mortal enemy for support. Avasarala apparently has been investigating a conspiracy within her own government that was working with Jules Pierre Mal to unleash the protomolecule technology, but Mal apparently is now working with Mars. Mal, who can tell Avasarala is closing in on her, calls for negotiations on his yacht in the belt. Avasarala's closest aide, an intelligence officer named Cotillard, warns her against such a meeting, saying it's a trap, but Avasarala insists on going anyway. But she also insists that Draper accompany them as her bodyguard and agrees to take her Martian battlesuit with them. Once there, however, while Avasarala is negotiating with Jules Pierre Mal, it turns out Avasarala's direct superior, Undersecretary Ehrenreich, betrays her and has killed the Martian that was working with Mal, so that Mal has no choice but to work with him and the UN once again. Ehrenreich considers Avasarala a loose end, so orders Mal to kill her. So a firefight breaks out in which Cotillard is shot and wounded, so Draper crawls out of an airlock in an attempt to get her battle armor. She manages to retrieve it and returns to easily dispense of Mal's forces, who were sent to kill Avasarala. They attempt to take over the ship, but find that Ehrenreich has sent a UN ship to destroy them. Running out of time, they hatch a plan to escape on a racing ship of Mal's deceased daughter, the Razorback. However, Avasarala insists on retrieving the evidence that proves that Ehrenreich is involved in the conspiracy with Mal before leaving, which puts them all at risk. They manage to get the evidence, and they make it to the Razorback in time, only to find that it seats just 2 people. Cotillard insists that Draper take Avasarala to safety, as his wounds wouldn't allow him to travel at high speeds, so he makes his way to a dropship while Draper takes Avasarala out on the Razorback. Draper is struck by the irony that she's going to great lengths to save the life of a leader of her mortal enemy, but still insists that she's not going to let Avasarala die. However, the UN destroyer discovers them, and Draper finds herself in a race for their lives, but Avasarala is incapable of traveling at high speeds that would be necessary to avoid the attack vessel, and is in constant risk of stroking out. So Draper sends out an emergency Martian call for distress, and eventually they are saved by a ship that disables the UN destroyer, and Draper takes Avasarala, who at this point is in very bad shape, to the vessel for medical attention. However, Draper discovers that the ship that came to the rescue was not a Martian vessel, but the Rocinante, a stolen Martian warship used by James Holden and the other survivors of the Canterbury disaster. At first, she doesn't get along with the others, but when Avasarala recovers, she tries to negotiate with Holden for help in stopping Ehrenreich and the conspiracy. Holden, however, isn't interested and insists on traveling to Io to help a Ganymede refugee's missing daughter. But as it turns out, the site on Io is where Jules Pierre Mal is headquartered and is running his protomolecule experiments from. As Avasarala tries to contact her allies in the UN fleet, fighting breaks out between her allies and Ehrenreich's allies. The stalemate is broken when the Martian forces side with Avasarala's allies. Draper, in the meantime, has made friends with the Martian pilot of the Rocinante, Alex. She plans on accompanying Holden, the Ganymede scientist, and Holden's muscle Amos Burton to Io to help retrieve the stolen children and to stop Jules Pierre Mal. Alex tries to warn her that if she sees a protomolecule hybrid to run in the other direction, but Draper isn't so sure, as she still suffers from the trauma over having lost her team to one of those things. When they arrive on the surface of Io, they find that Aaron Wright's ally, in a last desperate attempt, decided to launch all the protomolecule hybrids at Mars, which would destroy the planet. But the four of them move forward with their plan to apprehend Mal. All goes smoothly for Bobbie and her Martian battle armor until they come across a protomolecule hybrid still in the compound. Holden and the others insist they abandon the mission, but Bobbie refuses. She instead attacks the hybrid in order to lead it away from the others so they have time to stop Mal and the hybrids that are heading towards Mars. She, in essence, confronts her demons as she engages in a chase with the hybrid. The chase, however, eventually leads to the hybrid ambushing her, and it towers over her, preparing for the kill, but then is suddenly distracted by something. Draper uses this opportunity to blow its head off. She is later rescued and returned to the Rocinante, where she learned that the Rocinante crew did in fact manage to stop the hybrids that were heading towards Mars, as well as rescue the children and apprehend Jules Pierre Mal, thus putting an end to the conspiracy. Months later, Draper finds herself once again a Marine serving on a Martian warship. The warship is headed toward the Ring, a weird protomolecule alien structure that was created on Venus and is now orbiting the outer part of the system. Her ship is part of a Martian fleet that was sent along with a UN fleet, the Rocinante, and the Belter ship, the Behemoth, in order to investigate this strange alien structure. Draper still contacts the Rocinante regularly, particularly Alex, whom she's still good friends with. However, something happens where a UN science vessel is destroyed, an apparent terrorist attack that Holden apparently takes credit for, and all of the ships in the fleet gun for the Rocinante so that it escapes into the Ring. The ship Draper is on chases them into the Ring to find a strange alien space where ships are seized and frozen if they go too fast, so there is essentially a speed limit. When it's discovered that Holden has gone by himself in a spacesuit to an alien structure in the middle of this Ring space, Bobbie is sent with a team of Marines to retrieve him. Bobbie tries to reason with him and talk him down, but Holden is behaving strangely, so Bobbie concludes that something must have happened to his mind. They eventually catch up with him on the alien structure, where he is attempting to activate some alien device. Draper orders him to surrender, even threatening to shoot him, but he refuses to stop, insisting that she trust him. But on orders from her superior, she fires at Holden, attempting to kill him, but the alien space station intercedes and freezes the bullets and grabs hold of her superior and rips him to shreds. Holden then activates the alien device and it renders him unconscious. Draper then orders her team to take Holden back to the dropship. Her team suggests they kill Holden, but she refuses. When they return to their ship, they find that because of the incident that just occurred, the alien structure instantly changed the speed limit inside the Ring space to a much slower speed, and the massive deceleration caused many people on all the ships throughout the fleet to be killed, while many more were critically injured. So many people begin to evacuate to the Belter ship, the Behemoth, which has its own spin gravity, which allows for the wounded to heal. Meanwhile, at the new speed, it would take them 7 months to get out of the alien space, which is far too long. Bobbie is ordered to take Holden to the Behemoth as well, and she continues to defend him to her team, who try to insist that it's Holden's fault. They take him to the Behemoth, where she's ordered by her superior to hold him in a cell on the ship. Her superior makes an alliance with the Behemoth's captain, a man named Ashford, who enacts a plan to destroy the alien Ring, even though this would mean all of their deaths, in order to save humanity. However, a famous pastor named Anna begins broadcasting to the entire fleet that all ships should power down immediately in order to show the alien space they're not a threat. This directly defies Ashford's plan, so her superior orders Draper and her team to put an end to this broadcast immediately. However, when they go to do so, they find Alex and Amos defending Anna, and they fire back at them. Draper is shocked to see Alex there, and over the objections of her team, agrees to talk with him. Alex tells her that Holden insists that Ashford's plan will wipe out all of humanity, and Holden's plan is the only way to neutralize the alien threat. Bobbie suggests that Holden might not be in the right mind, but Alex insists that Holden's going around risking his life trying to save humanity, and that sounds like the Holden that he knows. However, Draper's team grows tired of the talks and decide to attack them anyway. When Draper tries to stop them, they attack her as well. So Draper holds them off as Amos kills them, and in the process she is shot herself and collapses as Alex provides her with aid. Holden eventually is able to enact his plan, and it works, and the alien space powers down, revealing a vast gate system that allows ships to instantly travel to many different worlds across the galaxy. Draper returns home on the Rosinante with her friend Alex. Over a year later, Bobbie is once again living on Mars as a civilian after being discharged from the military over the part she had to play in the death of her team on the Behemoth. She's depressed and living with her brother as she works at a shipyard. Avasarala contacts her and invites her to work with her once again on Earth, but Draper sees the contempt her own people have for her and refuses to leave, thinking that they would just think of her as a traitor that ran away to Earth. Instead, she stays behind and gets caught up in a crime syndicate that steals Martian technology to sell on the black market. She works directly for a dirty cop named Isai. This benefits her as she forms a romance with a stranger that she met at a bar. However, it becomes apparent to her and her lover that Mars is falling apart, as interest in terraforming the planet wanes because there are now 3,000 worlds waiting for colonization beyond the ring space. And her lover eventually leaves Mars to find work in the belt as Mars's economy collapses and work is scarce. Isai then insists on a one big last score, which seems highly risky to Draper, and she doesn't like the smell of it as it's coming from a former Martian intelligence officer. Isai seems blind to the danger because he really needs this score in order to get his family off of Mars. Draper investigates this further, and just before Isai is meant to go through with the score, she finds the intelligence officer who brought them this deal is dead, so she suspects that this is a setup. She goes to the score to find that she's correct, as men lay in wait to kill Isai and his team. Draper intercedes, but too late for Isai, who is killed, but manages to save Lily, a woman in Isai's team whom Draper doesn't get along with. She confronts her attackers, who are belters that try to leave with the Martian stealth technology, and they do get away by setting off a bomb which compromises the dome that she's in, and she barely escapes with her life. She and Lily escape, and Lily insists that Bobbie accompany her to Ceres, but Draper insists on staying on Mars to uncover the conspiracy in the Martian military. She contacts Avasarala for help in uncovering this conspiracy, but little does she know that Avasarala has just been voted out of office and can no longer help her. So, Draper's character journey is an interesting one that is still unfolding. She began as a loyal Martian soldier, towing the party line and intense in her hatred of Earth and the UN. However, her world turned upside down when her own government betrayed her, and she had to work with a leader of her enemy in order to stop this conspiracy. There she learned life wasn't as black and white as she had once thought, as she befriended Avasarala and the crew of the Rocinante, as they earned her respect by working together to stop this conspiracy that plagued both Earth and Mars. She also learned to confront her own inner demons to get over her trauma involving the loss of her team. She once again was forced to side against her own superiors in order to do the right thing in the ring space, and her actions helped save humanity once again, and for that she was punished, sent to live in destitution and mediocrity where her own people despised her. So, alone and desperate, she turned to a life of crime where she could use her skill set to profit herself. But in doing so, she stumbled across another conspiracy that signals the death of Mars. So once again, is driven to do the right thing, no matter the cost, which truly shows her strength and character. So that's it for my character analysis for Bobbie Draper. Thanks so much for watching. I shall be back each month with another character analysis of a character from the Expanse. And of course, I will return when Season 5 drops to review Season 5 as well. So be sure to check out my channel for that, as well as many other shows that I cover, such as Discovery, Breaking Bad, BoJack Horseman, Star Trek, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.